This vegan hot and sour soup is so full of flavor and comfort. Pulled young green jackfruit steps in as a meat substitute, which adds great texture to this packed, spicy and sour soup. Hello, I'm Catherine, and I have to say I am pretty surprised with myself for this recipe because I was always befuddled growing up at how much my parents and my older sister liked hot and sour soup. I was always reaching for wonton soup, but one day I got an itch to veganize hot and sour soup, and I have to say it is pretty delicious. So we're going to dive into that, and if you're getting a little distracted by these flourishing green onions, stay tuned to the end and I'll tell you how to get your green onions to flourish. So hit that subscribe button and let's dive in. A few of these ingredients might be a little unfamiliar to you, so let me show you what I'm using. Bamboo shoots, extra firm tofu, young green jackfruit, and dried shiitake mushrooms. Bamboo shoots are a staple in our pantry. You will likely find them in a canned vegetable aisle of your grocery store, and for this recipe, I thinly slice them. You can buy them thinly sliced or kind of more like this thickness, and then I slice them thin. I will also thinly slice about half a block of extra firm tofu. Soft or silken tofu is often used in hot and sour soup, but for this recipe, I'm just using firm tofu. Young green jackfruit is another versatile pantry staple. It's a great replacement for shredded meat. Shredded pork is often used in hot and sour soup, so I shred this young green jackfruit by hand to get that same texture. A key thing about using jackfruit in this recipe, make sure that you are buying young green jackfruit in brine, not ripe jackfruit in syrup. Very different. Finally, hot and sour soup most often uses a combination of dried shiitake mushrooms and wood ear or black fungus mushrooms. I've decided to just use dried shiitake mushrooms, but feel free to use fresh shiitake mushrooms or a combination of mushrooms. Let's start with rehydrating the mushrooms. If you're using dried mushrooms, as is traditional for hot and sour soup, you can soak them overnight in cold water in your fridge. I chose that overnight soak option for today, and since the mushrooms have a tendency to float, I've developed this contraption with an upside down lid and bowl for weight. You will find what works for you. Alternatively, there are often directions for a quick soak method on the package of mushrooms. Most involve soaking the mushrooms in very hot water for around 30 minutes. I rehydrate 2 cups of dried shiitake mushrooms for this recipe, and when they are soft, I slice them as thinly as I can. Make sure you don't throw away the water they soaked in, because we will use that flavorful water for broth. With all the ingredients assembled, the soup takes about 25 minutes to make. Splash about half a tablespoon vegetable oil into a large pot. Add 283 grams or 1 can of shredded young green jackfruit, 175 grams thinly sliced extra firm tofu, and 270 grams thinly sliced bamboo shoots. Stir gently and cook for about 1 minute. Add 2 tablespoons tamari or soy sauce, half a teaspoon red chili flakes, 1 teaspoon cane sugar, half a teaspoon white pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon salt. Stir and cook for about 5 minutes. We don't usually have white pepper as part of our pantry, but it is what gives hot and sour soup its traditional spicy flavor. If you don't have white pepper, you can use black pepper, and maybe just add a few more chili flakes or chili oil if you have it. And I have noticed that some traditional recipes say to add the white pepper only near the end of the cooking time because the pepper can turn bitter, but others add it in near the beginning. And I haven't detected a bitter taste, so that's why I'm adding it in now, but if you prefer to wait until the end, then you can absolutely do so. After 5 minutes, add in the rehydrated and thinly sliced shiitake mushrooms. Add 8 cups of vegetable broth. I'm using the reserved water the mushrooms soaked in, which usually totals between 2 to 3 cups, and the rest of the broth is my homemade vegetable broth. Be extra thrifty and make your own broth from your vegetable scraps to save a few dollars every time you make soup. Cover to bring the soup to a boil, then reduce to a simmer and simmer for 10 minutes. When the 10 minutes are near to being done, you can prepare a slurry of starch and water. This is what provides that thick and glossy broth that is traditional of hot and sour soup. Mix 1/3 cup arrowroot starch or cornstarch with 1/4 cup cool water. Don't be tempted to grab hot broth from the soup. Using hot water will make the starch clump. Whisk the starch into the water until fully combined, and after the soup has simmered for 10 minutes, slowly add it to the soup, stirring right away to distribute it through the soup. Cook for another 5 minutes. The one traditional part of this soup that I haven't found a great vegan substitute for is the ribbons of egg that are created by slowly pouring in than whisked egg. But what I have found helps is using a little bit of black salt. It's a volcanic salt that smells quite potently like sulfur, and it adds a great bit of eggy flavor and smell to your vegan recipes. If you don't have it, it's absolutely optional, but if you do have it in your pantry, then add some in. Stir in a 1/4 teaspoon black salt and a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup white vinegar. I tend to use 1/2 cup, but you can start with less, give the soup a taste, and add more if you would like. It's important to not cook the soup too much longer now, because the longer it cooks, the more that vinegar will evaporate and you will lose that great flavor. And there you have it. Garnish your vegan hot and sour soup with some green onion, extra chili flakes, chili oil if you have it, and now the moment you've all been waiting for, how I got my bouquet of green onion to be so majestic. If you buy your green onion with the roots on, like this, then just put the roots in a little bit of water, change that water out every day or so, and watch your green onions grow. This is really delicious. I get now why my sister and my parents love this soup. And this vegan hot and sour soup with pulled jackfruit serves 6 and costs us about $8.25, or about $1.38 a serving. If we use our homemade broth, using store-bought broth, it costs us between an extra $4 to $6, depending on whether we rehydrate our mushrooms and use some of that liquid. So it seems like a really small thing, making your own broth, but the savings really do add up. And the jackfruit in this recipe, as our meat substitute, costs us $2.99, which is similar in price to what we would pay for a little bit of meat and an egg or two to make this more traditionally. So I really hope that you enjoyed this recipe. Please click the link below and make yourself some comforting vegan hot and sour soup. Please subscribe. It helps give our channel a boost and helps other people find us. And we have a new video for you every Sunday at 5 p.m. Next Sunday, I'm making a curry. Can you believe that I have not made a curry for you yet? This is a delicious red lentil curry that is so creamy, and you are not going to want to miss it.